We are at a new stage and wanted to visit with Cody Clark with Clark Custom Homes to see where we're at. Cody, I see that we have some things going on here that I personally have never seen, and a lot of the people viewing this probably haven't seen, but it's a mess out here.
It is a mess.
So where are we at? What stage is this called?
So this is the foundation makeup stage.
Okay.
So we've set our forms, we've dug our trenches, and so now we're in the process of just cleaning out all our beams. As you can see all the beams that we have here. We've laid our cables for our post-tension slab. The guys behind me, they're actually laying the electrical conduit.
Okay.
As we speak.
Now, we were talking briefly before, in these trenches that you guys have dug, those are the red cables that you guys discussed, and you can kind of see my reflection here in my shadow, but those are the cables, and they run all the way to the end of the foundation. And what you were saying before is, I guess you guys pour the foundation and then tighten them, or you guys tighten them and then pour the foundation? What actually is occurring with those cables, and what's the importance of that?
Yeah, so we'll pour the foundation, and then within 7 days we'll come back and actually tighten them. The cable company comes and does it for us, and they're tightened to 35,000 psi or kpi actually. So it's like a tennis racket, if you will. So each cable helps pull everything together. So it helps firm up that slab, right? Even at 7 days, that concrete looks hard, but it still has a lot of malleability in it. And so we're able to pull it together and make it firm. And those cables hold that. They hold that foundation over time, and they allow some movement, but not enough to fracture.
Okay, and we were talking earlier with there being cables in foundations, because this is a common practice nowadays. It wasn't historically, but it is now. When anybody's doing any construction, if they happen to cut these cables without doing an X-ray of the foundation, that's going to be detrimental to the overall structural integrity of the foundation, right? If you cut those cables.
You bet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if we were gonna do an addition or add something, we'd do an X-ray and make sure there's no cables. Obviously cutting one may not be the end of the world, but we obviously want to avoid it at all. At all possible. Just try to avoid cutting anything.
Okay.
Because there's no, unlike a traditional slab, there's no rebar. I mean, there's minimal rebar in here. So a traditional slab uses rebar and concrete to make it as firm and as stiff as possible. But this, we actually use cables. It's less labor intensive, it's less cost, and it's actually more effective than a rebar foundation.
Now, you were mentioning too that in between each of these trenches and these tarp covered mounds, there are pillars or posts essentially that go down. So explain to me, what's the importance of that, and why are they not connected to the actual foundation?
Yeah, so everywhere you see a square come together, right? Everywhere we see a beam come together, we have a pier there. And so what happens is, over time, so this is what we call highly volatile soil, and it just is what it is in North Texas. So if this foundation sinks, those piers actually hold the foundation up, so it'll actually sit on those piers, and they'll never allow the foundation to sink and crack. So this is a problem that we see with production builders, your big box builders. So these piers are expensive, but it may add, when I say expensive, I'm talking like $10,000, $11,000 for 42 piers in this house. But the way I see it is, you can spend $11,000 today, or in 10 years, you can call a foundation company and they can put them in there when it should have been done right the first time.
Exactly. So what's the importance of covering the dirt with these tarps? Because it looks odd for me, because you're going to pour a foundation over it anyways.
Right. So what we're trying to do by doing that is control all the factors that we can control. So we're trying to capture the moisture in there to keep the soil conditioned to a certain moisture conditioning. So we moisture condition these, and then we tarp them to capture all that moisture.
Perfect.
And then we pour our concrete over that. So we're trying to control all the variables that we can control. We're going to control, pre-pour. And then obviously for the longevity of the foundation, because nobody likes foundation problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially me as a builder.
Exactly. So we are also talking about this interesting little hole. I was unsure of why there's a huge hole in here, and you mentioned that this is actually for the fireplace. and it's not actually digging the fireplace down, but it's for the weight and adding extra, I guess, foundation concrete below the fireplace. Is that right?
Yeah, right. So we'll actually, this thing will be full of concrete. So this is an 18-inch deep hole. And so that fireplace will just sit on this big block of concrete, essentially. So you got to think your foundation's 4 or 5 inches thick, but we're going to add 30,000 pounds of rock and stone because we're going to do a real masonry fireplace here. So yeah, we'll just pour a big footer, and you probably can't see it, but there is a pier. There is actually several piers in this hole. So not only do we a thickened foundation where we're going to have lots of weight, we pour piers in there as well. So those piers are 20 feet deep.
Oh, nice. Well, Cody, I really appreciate you spending the time, and I know other people watching this video are very interested as the process of the home and what goes into it. So we really appreciate your knowledge and all that you're bringing to our local community. Again, Cody Clark with Clark Custom Homes. He is an amazing builder, as you guys can tell, and willing to really teach everybody anything they need to know about it.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thank
Cody.
you.